Welcome to St. Louis and Busch Stadium. Tonight, we renew one of baseball's great rivalries. For over a century, the Cardinals and Cubs have been squaring off in the National League, fighting not only for wins on the field, but for the hearts of baseball fans all across the Midwest. While the Cardinals have enjoyed more on-field success, it's the Cubs who are defending NL Central champs. Now, Alfonso Soriano leads the team from the Windy City against one of the great hitters of our time, Albert Pujols and his Redbirds. The rivalry continues on Wednesday Night Baseball.
Ricky's going. 300 games. It's over. It's over. A home run.
It's one of those perfect baseball nights in America's heartland, and we welcome you to Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice. And this evening, the St. Louis Cardinals entertain the Chicago Cubs in what might be a prelude to a summer-long division fight. This one also features a terrific pitcher's duel. In fact, the best matchup on the Major League schedule on this Wednesday. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Busch Stadium. I'm Dave O'Brien, delighted to be joined by my partner, former Cub and Cardinal Rick Sutcliffe. And Sut, when you think about leadoff men, particularly in the National League, you usually don't think about home runs and RBIs until you get to the Chicago Cubs.
Alfonso Soriano. As Cub manager Lou Piniella says, it all starts with him. When he's hot, we're real good. And this guy has been hot for a long, long time. A leadoff guy that can carry a baseball team. Loves to swing at that first pitch, Obi. He usually does. Last year, in just 109 ball games, he was the Cubs MVP. They think if he can stay healthy this year, he can make a run at the National League MVP.
On the topic of MVPs in the National League, how about Albert Pujols? And so much of the St. Louis Cardinals' success hinges on a happy and productive and healthy Albert Pujols, and right now he's all three.
Stan the Man Musial, the Hall of Famer. Stan would be the first guy to tell you that the last 9 years, the man in St. Louis has been Albert Pujols. A lot of people say he's the best player in the game, and it's easy to see why. You think about this ballpark, the new Busch Stadium. The first home run hit here by a Cardinal was hit by Albert Pujols. A lot of people call it the house that Albert built. A lot of people also say that he is the best player in the game of baseball. OB, when you think about all things, you think about on the field, off the field, offense, defense, running the bases, I can see why they feel that way.
And in the community, nobody better. Now, the St. Louis Cardinals tonight will bring off the disabled list their unquestioned ace, right-hander Chris Carpenter, but at the same time, Sut, they are holding their collective breath.
Boy, they certainly are. Tonight's a huge start for the Cardinals and Chris Carpenter either way. If he's the dominant guy that was 51 and 18 over a 3-year period with the Cy Young, that is a huge break for them. But he also might be the guy that in the last 3 years has only recorded 3 decisions. Nobody knows. Pitching coach Dave Duncan saying before the game, we're going to watch just like you guys do.
Watching a great night here in St. Louis. Sunshine, about 80 degrees. Blue sky. It's heaven here. And also coming up on the broadcast tonight, Sut's winning baseball looks at Cardinals pitching coach Dave Duncan and the pitchers he's taken to new heights. We'll take a walk in the park around the newest incarnation of Busch Stadium. Up next, we'll head to the studio for an update on a busy night in the majors. And then it's first pitch. Cardinals ace Chris Carpenter returning to the mound against Ryan Dempster and the Cubs. It's Wednesday Night Baseball from the gateway to the West.
Welcome inside the ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball studios. I'm Cindy Brunson. We'll get you out to the new Busch Stadium in just a bit, but first, some sad news to pass along. Gabrielle Dawn Schoenweiss, wife of Diamondbacks relief pitcher Scott, was found dead at their home in Arizona today. Police are investigating what may have caused the 39-year-old's death. The couple's daughter, who's 14 years old, came home and found Gabriel unresponsive and called authorities. Schoenweiss has left the team in Florida and is on his way home. His teammates playing with heavy hearts in the first of 2 games against the Marlins this evening. Chris Volstad and company trying to take game 1 of this doubleheader. First play, bottom 2. Marlins up 2-0. Volstad rips one back up the box. Doug Davis, out of desperation, deflects the ball out of his glove. Chad Tracy steps on first for the out. Worth a second look. Second play comes your way from the top of the 5th with 1 out and 1 on. Diamondbacks down 3-1. It's Chris Snyder deep and gone. And that'll tie things at 3. In the bottom of the 5th, Marlins with the lead. And Dan Uggla steps in. Uggla, nobody is going to get that. His home run putting the Marlins up 7-3 at that point. Florida is on top 7-6. We're in the bottom of the 8th in game number 1 of 2. These games making up for a rainout. Florida, Major's worst, 4 up and 13 down this month. But again, they've got the 1-run lead. Arizona comes in with its first 2-game win streak on new skipper A.J. Hinch's watch. Orioles and the Yankees. New York putting its season-high 7-game win streak on the line. Bottom 2, Nick Swisher with his first home run at the new Yankee Stadium, his 9th of the season. This off Jeremy Guthrie. It's a theme. Here's your next batter, Robinson Cano. His 7th of the season, and the New York lead is 3-0. Your very next batter is Melky Cabrera. And Cabrera steps in. The Milkman delivers his 5th of the season, back-to-back jacks in support of Phil Hughes, who's going to win his 2nd game in the season. New York on top 4-0. AL Best Toronto looking to get on the board against Boston Red Sox. Lead over the Yankees down to just 1 game at the start of tonight's play. The captain, Jason Varitek, has sent one into the monster seats, his 6th of the season. Boston's lead is 2-0. We're in the top of the 4th. Looking ahead to Sunday Night Baseball, we've got interleague action for you. It's the Brewers and the Twins, presented by Taco Bell at 8 Eastern Time. To take the day off for Memorial Day, but we're back Tuesday with an NL Central battle. Cardinals and the division-leading Brewers coming your way Tuesday night at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Chris Carpenter and St. Louis 13-8 at home this season. Dave O'Brien and Rick Sutcliffe will have the first pitch for you after the break.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball is presented by Smirnoff Ice. Please drink responsibly. And in part by Cisco. Welcome to the Human Network.
It's one of the faces of this great rivalry, Lou Brock, who was traded from the Cubs to the Cardinals in June of 1964. Turned out to be one of the most lopsided trades in Major League history. He'd go on to Cooperstown with 938 stolen bases, 6 All-Star appearances, and would retire in 1979, 15 seasons with the Cardinals. And so you've been on both sides of the rivalry. You've played for the Cubs and the Cardinals. This is a very familiar sight on beautiful nights like this. Cubs and Cardinals fans sitting side by side. It's a very civilized rivalry in many ways.
No question about that. I think it's the best rivalry in sports because of that. I mean, you know, you think Red Sox, Yankees, and you get into hockey with Chicago and Detroit. I mean, there's fights. There's a lot of things that go on that, you know, aren't, I don't know, how do I want to put it, family oriented. This is all about family. Everybody in here wants their team to win, but you know what? They're going to hug when they walk in. They're going to hug on the way out.
Very good-natured. Lou Piniella getting a close look at Chris Carpenter, the right-hander, who was hurt while hitting in a game on April 15th, the strained left rib cage. He's now been on the DL 9 times, mostly for elbow and shoulder issues. Got off to a great start before that injury, swinging the bat.
He'll be 34 years of age. You just never know. I mean, a little thing like that. I mean, you could tell he wasn't even trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Just a simple little swing, and he broke down. That's what they don't know. You can look at the numbers there. When he can take his turn, when he's healthy, this guy can dominate. This is a huge, huge outing, I think, on the season for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Let's take a look at the Chicago Cubs starting lineup he'll face, brought to you by Pizza Hut. Starts right away with Alfonso Soriano and a dozen home runs already. Kosuke Fukudome has come alive. He's drawing a lot of walks, hitting well on the road.
And people talk about him being healthy. He had elbow surgery on that right elbow back in August of 07. He was not really 100% all last year. We didn't hear a lot about that. We're seeing what a healthy Kosuke Fukudome can do.
Fukudome was really in Lou Piniella's doghouse at the tail end of last season and on into the playoffs. Fans still streaming into Busch Stadium, brand new Busch Stadium. Opening up just a few seasons ago. Great pitchers matchup tonight. Carpenter against Dempster.
That is a great shot right there. That tells you what this rivalry is all about.
Now the Cubs managed just 3 hits last night and lost to the Cardinals 3-0. Now we'll see what Soriano has in mind to get them on the board tonight for the first time in the series.
Well, you know what Lou Piniella had in mind after that last night? Yeah, there was early hitting earlier this afternoon by the Chicago Cubs. Anytime something like that happens on the road, you just forget about the plans you had the next day.
In there for a strike, and Chris Carpenter off to a nice start, the New Hampshire native and the true #1 on the St. Louis staff, facing Soriano, one of the most dangerous hitters in the big leagues, with 53 career leadoff homers. That breaking ball is in there. Soriano practically ducked underneath that, and it's 0-2.
Command of 4 above average pitches when healthy. You've seen the fastball, the curveball. There's 2 more to come.
Got him and made him look pretty bad in the process. He strikes out Soriano on 3 pitches.
Soriano's a guy that normally will swing at the very first pitch of the ball game. He loves that first pitch. For some reason, he took it, and then he got a good look at 2 breaking balls. The second one was for a strike. The third one out of the zone. Always aggressive. Carpenter with a great start to this ball game.
The 6'6" right-hander dealing to Terrio, puts it in play right to the shortstop, and Ryan guns it over there, and plenty of time for the second out. Fukudome coming up next, and a look defensively now. The St. Louis Cardinals around Carpenter. Tony La Russa's had to go to mishmash at times in his lineup. Duncan, Rasmus, and Stamanoa in the outfield. Thurston, Ryan, Schumacher, and Pujols on the infield, and Molina the catcher. A lot of those names you probably don't know. They've had to use a ton of rookies and older guys who have come through the minor leagues because of the injuries and because of the holes. Fukudome takes the first pitch in there for strike 1.
Tell you one name you know, and that's Yadier Molina. Last night, a leadoff base hit by Soriano. Immediately, Molina picked him off.
Fukudome bluffing a bunt, takes a ball.
29 OB in his career pickoffs. A lot of them coming down there at first base with Pujols. That really set the tone last night. That was one of, as you said, only 3 base hits by the Cubs.
Joel Pinheiro was outstanding. He went all the way to shut down Chicago's attack, and the Cubs have had injury issues of their own so far here in 2009. Both of these teams a little beat up as we head for the tail end of May. 3 balls, 1 strike.
I think of Joel Pinheiro and his turnaround. You know it has a lot to do with Dave Duncan. And look at him right there, telling Molina, tell him to keep that front shoulder closed. What happens? Comes right back with a quality pitch.
And knocked foul into the stands by Fukudome. Pinheiro has been outstanding as they have awaited the return of Chris Carpenter. He's really been their best starter.
Added a new pitch. 2-seam sinking fastball.
Down and in for ball 4. Fukudome drawing his 26th walk. That's something he does very, very well. And here comes Derek Lee. Lee hitting just .229. 4 homers, 18 runs batted in. The 3-time Gold Glover missed 5 games recently due to a neck spasm. That was caused by a bulging disc. And the first pitch will miss for ball 1.
But he had 90 RBIs a year ago, hitting in the heart of the order for the Chicago Cubs, but only 34 the second half of the season. He refuses to use that wrist injury as an excuse, but
2-0. Lee did bounce back to get 4 hits against Houston on Sunday. Runner on at first base, and Carpenter from the stretch. And well off the plate. He missed again. So after walking Fukudome, having trouble throwing a strike here to Derek Lee, Milton Bradley is on deck.
75 pitches is what they're looking at tonight as a maximum for Chris Carpenter.
In for a strike. Lee thought he had ball 4. He questions Brian Gorman, who's working the plate this evening.
You know, I mean, I question Derek Lee there. I mean, he's got to want to swing the bat right here. You got a man on, a chance to give your team the lead.
Hitters count. He goes the other way into right center field. drops that one down. Fukudome rounding second. He's on to third, and they're on the corners for Chicago. So Lee punches the single, and the Cubs trying to do with 2 here in the first inning.
Cubs will take that. Only 3 hits all last night. This ball not really driven into the gap. Elevated over the second baseman's head. Here's, to me, the big problem for the Chicago Cubs. Right now, this would be Aramis Ramirez, their best by far clutch hitter. He is out at least until the All-Star break.
Separated shoulder. He's had other injury issues this season as well, and so has this man, Milton Bradley. Aramis Ramirez with calf, back, and shoulder troubles. He says, seems like I can't be out there right now this year. I've been hurt all the time. And that's a huge bat in their lineup that they are having to do without. They think July 1st, as Suddy mentioned. Bradley knocks that one to first, down to get it. Pujols, nice stop, and up for the out. Side retired. So Carpenter, a few more pitches than he would have liked to have thrown after a quick start, but he gets out of it. And Albert and the Cardinals are coming up against Dempster. Bottom of the first coming up, and so you get the idea that Chris Carpenter has a full grasp of how big this outing is for him tonight.
Yeah, and I think you also get the feeling how scared he is. I mean, just swinging the bat, just, you know, trying to run down to first base have been problems for him in the past.
Will he even swing the bat tonight? Let's take a look at the St. Louis Cardinals starting lineup, brought to you by Pizza Hut. And right off the top, Skip Schumacher is trouble for Ryan Dempster. Look at that, 10 for 24.
Yeah, and you know, Tony La Russa had those numbers in front of him, and I think a big part of the game for the Cardinals is to get somebody on base in front of Albert Pujols.
Pujols, the number 3 hitter. Dempster 3-2 coming in, a 4.65 ERA. All-star right hitter from Canada. He's been a little up and down since opening day.
Yeah, but more up as of late. Talking with pitching coach Larry Rothschild before the game, the slider is better.
And delivers ball 1 on Schumacher, a 3.01 hitter. Dempster 6'2", fastball slider guy. And a big key to his success last year is that one is knocked foul by Schumacher. For Dempster, 17 wins, tying for the club lead, was keeping the ball in the ballpark. He only allowed 14 home runs the entire year. So far, as Larry Rothschild will note for you at a moment's notice, he's given up 7 already. Up top, 2-1.
Larry was also saying that one of the big problems has been his fastball command. Velocity, health, everything else has been there. The command has not been as sharp, nor has the slider. He's got both of those going for him tonight.
A strike called as he went with a breaking ball there. Colby Rasmus on deck.
All about getting this bat in the lineup for Tony La Russa. Schumacher, a converted outfielder to second base. Cardinals tried that years ago with a guy named Red Shandies.
Well, this has gone very well. They're very happy with Schumacher defensively. Still has some things to work on. A comebacker, and Dempster gloves it. I think he has to improve on the double play and moving to his left a little bit, but so far so good.
Let's take a look at the notes here and what we think might be the keys to this ball game. It's all about fastball command. You saw it there with the very first hitter with Dempster. That glove of Soto behind home plate not moving a lot. And then to me, it's what Tony La Russa does with the first 2 guys in the lineup. He's got to find somebody that can get on base to give Albert a chance to give them the lead.
Well, here's the 22-year-old rookie, Colby Rasmus. Tony La Russa forced to play a lot of rookies so far in the early going. 11 rookies have appeared in games for the Cardinals. 7 are still here. And 6 of Tony's 13 position players are rookies.
Well, we talked about the Cubs missing Ramirez. Their power bat, 100 RBI guy at third base. Tony La Russa with the same problem. Troy Glaus, 99 RBIs a year ago, has not played.
Trying to get a man on for Pujols, but not on swings like that. That one disappeared. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Rasmus, hitting .250 with 4 homers, and Big Albert waiting on deck.
One of those homers was last night for Rasmus, a 2-run shot that was big.
Cut on and missed. He struck him out. 2 fast outs in front of the reigning MVP. Defensively, Here's how they back up Dempster tonight in St. Louis. Soriano in left, Fukudome in center. Milton Bradley is the right fielder. And on the infield, you have a Gold Glover in Derek Lee. Fontenot, Terrio, and Scales all around, and Soto behind the plate, the National League Rookie of the Year last season.
Great defense for both of these teams at first base.
Pujols hitting .319. He's homered 13 times with 37 runs batted in. What else is new? Off to another great start. 37 RBIs, tied for the lead.
You know, and if you're Ryan Dempster, all you got to do is look in the on-deck circle. Yadier Molina with a nice average. He hit over 300 last year, but only 3 home runs. Albert Pujols, he has to know that, but he gets frustrated. He was saying before last night's game.
1 ball and 1 strike. You look at the company that Albert keeps. Most consecutive 300, 30 homer, 100 RBI seasons. He is up to 8 and counting.
Wow. And he's not done. He's not close to being done.
So to your point, which I think is where you're going with this, why give him anything to hit in this lineup?
Well, until Ryan Ledwick gets back, there is no reason. There's no reason right now. And you saw Carpenter being careful with Fukudome.
Socked through the hole for a base hit. Pujols is on with a single, and when he does that, if you're a pitcher, yeah, you gave up a hit, but part of you is saying, oh, thank goodness, it's only a hit.
That ball was hit so hard. I mean, he's so quick. He has absolutely no holes up there. Look at the glove. He makes a mistake. He hangs a breaking ball. Fortunate to keep that ball in the ballpark. But look at Pujols. He just does not miss a mistake.
So it sends up Yadier Molina. You got to watch Albert because he is sneaky over there at first base. He'll pick up a base, steal one on you once in a while.
I think he's already got like 6 stolen bases this year.
He's holding on the first pitch to Molina. St. Louis without Rick Ankiel tonight. He could have played this evening. He is off the disabled list after that terrifying crash into the center field wall, and is available, but Tony La Russa wants to give him another day. But man, was that scary. You mentioned Ludwig also injured at the moment, so the Cardinals are having some injury problems. But Ankiel is all smiling. Isn't that good to see? I mean, in the case of Ankiel with that crash on a great play, but it looked like a car wreck.
Yeah, and it felt like one, he said. He's wanting to go. And Albert Pujols knows that. 6 stolen bases on the year. He's only been caught once, but this is the spot. Molina's probably not going to drive him in from first base. He's just not that type of hitter. But because of the injuries put into the cleanoff spot, Albert Pujols would like to get into scoring position.
He's holding. A late swing and a miss there by Molina. Albert with 6 stolen bases, only caught once so far in 09. Chris Duncan on deck, just getting started on a glorious night here in St. Louis. Back to the hill again. Dempster with a couple of snags in the inning, and nobody hurts him. Just a single by Pujols. So the pitchers duel off to the races. 0-0 after 1 at Busch Stadium. Well, you can really feel it in the air in St. Louis. We're getting closer and closer to summertime. It must be with the Cubs and Cardinals going toe-to-toe. 0-0 after 1. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien alongside. That's Ryan Fontenot in the batter's box as he takes ball 1. Hitting just .207. He's been slumping. He did have a hit last night, but he's in a 2-for-32 tailspin. Went 5 straight games without a hit at one point.
I was just laughing about those 2 girls with the Cardinal and Cub jersey on, probably best friends, you know, and sitting there having a ball. That does not happen with the Yankees and Red Sox. They don't talk to each other. They don't even acknowledge each other. And
look at each other. That's right.
Oh yeah, let me take your picture. Isn't this a beautiful night?
Mike Fontenot trying to get out of that slump that he's in right now. Takes a pitch downstairs, and Pinella has him at third base these days, filling in for Aramis Ramirez. And Lou says he's never played every day at the big league level before.
Yeah.
And he's learning right now. He has to battle through this. Little dribbler. And Pujols with an easy stab for the out. Let's check in now. Cindy Brunson in the studio.
Here's what's happening on SportsCenter right now, presented by Sprint. In the pre-dawn hours today in Leavenworth, Kansas, after 17 months behind bars, suspended quarterback Michael Vick left federal prison bound for his home in Hampton, Virginia, where he'll begin home confinement for 2 months. Also, world's #2 golfer Bill Mickelson is suspended playing indefinitely while his wife Amy battles breast cancer. Mickelson's management company says Amy will begin treatment with major surgery as early as the next couple of weeks. Here's hoping Amy will join Sut in the Cancer Survivors Club. Guys, back to you.
Cindy, thank you very much. As Soto knocks a base hit into right field, and here's a second on that. As Soto tries to bring that batting average up and over the Mendoza line, hitting 198 coming in. Son, I know you feel great. You look great. Everything back to normal with you.
Yeah.
Although last week I left you in the hands of Chris Berman. I just want to make sure that you're completely in one piece this week.
We had a ball, but we talked about you and thought about you a lot last week.
There's only one boomer. As Bobby Scales gets in here, what a story he is, the second baseman, hitting .333 with a home run and 4 runs batted in. Perseverance, thy name is Bobby Scales. He was in his 11th season of minor league ball when the Cubs promoted him from AAA Iowa on May 4th. It's a lot of self-confidence and maybe some stubbornness as well. Right there to Albert, gets the out at first, high throw and dropped by Ryan. He needed to make a tag to complete the double play. Could not haul it in. A high toss by Pujols. He did get the bag for the out on Scales. And there are 2 down.
Well, here's where we talked about all of the changes and the injuries. Khalil Green, normally the starting shortstop, not there. You're unfamiliar with a lot of things going on there. Albert did the perfect play. He steps on the bag plenty of time, kind of hurries the throw, and then it was almost like he didn't recognize who he was throwing it to. He kind of let up on that. The ball sailed on him. What should have ended the inning did not.
Albert, a one-time Gold Glover. Dempster trying for the hole, backhanded by Pujols, very busy, feeds the pitcher for the out. The side will be retired, so no harm done on the play at second base. After an inning and a half, all good for Carpenter in his return. There's a swing and a hot fly ball right center field. Back it goes, racing back. Logan jumping up, and that ball is gone. Number 756. Barry Lamar Bonds has hit more home runs than any major leaguer in the history of baseball. Help us celebrate 20 years of Major League Baseball on ESPN by going to ESPN.com and voting for our 20th year All-Star team. Go to the MLB page and vote on the players you think are all-star caliber. We'll announce the winners in the second half of the season. Back in St. Louis on a Wednesday night, Ryan Dempster against Chris Carpenter. On what figures to be a very good night to pitch. Here's Chris Duncan. Pops the first one up. Soto, and here comes Fontenot, and that one drops in foul territory.
He had a long ways to go, and he's only played third base a short period of time. This was not his play. Take a look at the shift because of Duncan. You see all of a sudden Fontenot coming as hard as he can. Right there, Soto had already circled the ball. He had it coming back to him. It would have been an easy play for him. Fontenot won to help him. I mean, that ball almost hit him in the head right there. He running as hard as he could. It was juggling. He didn't come close to making that play.
So an error on Fontenot, and Duncan with the rest of this at bat on the house. Nick Stavinoa on deck. That's across for a strike.
You know, sometimes you're struggling offensively and you're making out your first at bat. You go, all right, if you're a guy like Fontenot, I'm going to help. I'm going to make a great play defensively. Trying to do too much.
Boy, first base is the spot tonight as it's rolled right at Derek Lee for a quick out.
Obie, let's take a look at the fastball command, and that being the key for Dempster right off the bat. Take a look here. If you miss If you miss, you want to miss off the plate. He did it there to the first guy in the first inning, and you saw how he ended that first inning, hitting the K zone on the inside corner to get 2 easy ground balls.
Dempster, an all-star last year. He was almost unbeatable at Wrigley Field. He went 14-3 in Chicago.
Well, he's 2-0 at home this year in Chicago.
3-3 on the road so far.
Only 4 wins in his last 18 road starts. Yeah, there's a difference.
Stavanoa hitting .286, no homers, 1 run batted in. Right-hand hitter, another older, young Cardinal. He's 27, but had only 57 major league at-bats before this season. He did hit .337 with 16 homers at Memphis a season ago, but can he do it at the big league level? And like Fontenot and Terrio, he's out of LSU in that terrific baseball program.
More fastball command right here, but when you got a guy you don't know a whole lot about, you just take a look at the swing. You break it down. Take a look at it. Look at how long the swing is. Got the long arms, like to extend. He's not going to be able to get there. So now you've got a young guy with not much experience. You figure he's going to try to cheat on the fastball. Oh, he had him set up so easily there. All he had to do was throw it for a strike. I mean, you got him. He wants to cheat on. He's either going to chase it in the dirt or he's going to take it for a strike on that pitch. Dempster let that out get away from him.
Joe Thurston, another guy who knocked around in the minor leagues for a long time, on deck, and there's another good breaking ball by Dempster. His second strikeout as he gets the number 6 hitter. Thurston on the way up, and we were talking about the home and road splits for Ryan Dempster. I mean, 16-3 since the start of 2008 at home. 4-6 on the road.
But you know what? When you look at that ERA in this day and age, that's not horrible. I think the key to his success at home has been something you mentioned earlier. Last year he kept the ball in the park. This year he's had a little trouble with the home run ball. You do that at Wrigley, you're going to win.
A ball on Thurston, and remember now, Tony La Russa likes to bat the pitcher in the 8-hole, and that's what he'll do with Chris Carpenter. With Brendan Ryan tonight, shortstop, batting 9th. And the fascinating thing is going to be, if he gets a chance to hit in this inning, if Chris Carpenter is even going to swing the bat, because it was an oblique injury suffered on a swing a month ago that cost him a month and cost him 5 starts.
I think it all depends on the situation. If he comes up with a man on first and 2 outs, probably not. I mean, you got to try to win the ball game. He comes up with a man in scoring position, nothing and nothing. Yeah, you've got to swing the bat there. Thurston makes an out here. He leads off the next inning. I doubt if he swings the bat.
Fought off foul, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Thurston hitting just .237. It's not a lineup outside of Albert Pujols that is stacked with a lot of accomplished major league hitters. But Tony has said many times in recent days, we believe we can win with the guys in this clubhouse. It might sound a little hopeful right now.
But Tony's always been that way, has he not?
The 2-2. Right to the first baseman. That's where you want to play tonight. Plenty of activity over there. And it's a quick frame for Dempster. He gets them 1-2-3. Next up, Alfonso Soriano, already with 12 home runs. He'll be leading off when we come back to the Cubs.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice. Brought to you by Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling. And Bridgestone, for drivers who want to get the most out of their cars. It's Bridgestone or nothing.
Soriano ready to swing, and it'd be best be ready in the stands to catch one if he hits it your way with that great bat speed, the way he whips that through the hitting zone. He struck out in the first inning. No score in the third. Soriano, Terrio, Fukudome for Chicago against Chris Carpenter. His much awaited return to the rotation for St. Louis. Former Cy Young Award winner, won it 2005 when he went 21-5 with a .283 ERA. Saw when healthy, he's one of the very best, a true number 1.
He dictates the action. You're exactly right. He will determine whether you're going to hit the ball. I remember Tony Gwynn talking about certain guys where Tony could dictate the action. I can control whether I pull it or go the other way. And then certain guys like Carpenter on the mound, no, they'll let you know what they're going to give you. They're gonna command one side of the plate. You better figure it out.
Rattled foul. There just aren't that many that you would call a true ace. Well, there's one.
When healthy.
When healthy, Zambrano, and he's coming back on Friday off the disabled list. Hamstring injury. Got that running the bases. Says he's probably not going to run full tilt anymore. Another one foul off third, at least for a while. Does that mean they don't pinch hit him anymore?
Probably not for a while. It's so easy to say too. Yeah. It's like Carpenter. This is what Tony Russo was saying before the game. Is he going to swing the bat? He goes, you know what? He doesn't know. You know, the adrenaline's going to get inside of you, and you know, you try to do things you probably shouldn't.
Competitive athlete. That one fair. Thurston backs up, and Soriano is out at first base. He is 0 for 2. Time for an update on the Boston Red Sox and David Ortiz. Here's Cindy Brunson.
Here's this Hotels.com studio update for you. Blue Jays and the Red Sox bottom 5 with one aboard. A Big Papi. Bang. This off Toronto rookie Brett Cecil. It's Ortiz's first regular season home run since last September. Boston rolling up 8-0. Dave, Rick, back to you.
Hi, Cindy. Thank you very much. And for Big Papi, the longest he has ever gone in his major league career in between home runs in terms of at-bats. His first of the season. A tremendous sigh of relief, you've got to believe, in Boston for the ever popular David Ortiz. Red Sox right now 23-16, taking on Toronto at the moment.
Well, Boston's doing what they did a year ago.
Terrio slaps that one to right, a slicer. Stamanoa will not get it. Almost got by him. And now Terrio wants second base and will get it as he dives in with a double.
The point being, Boston's not a great team. They're a great home team. And that's what they're doing again this year. That's what they did a year ago.
Red Sox at 14-4 at Fenway Park. So a two-base hit for Terrio, third hit off of Carpenter tonight. And Lou Piniella has a man in scoring position.
Well, I give Lou Piniella, I give their hitting coach Gerald Perry a lot of credit, you know, figuring this out. The only success you're going to have off of Carpenter is going to the opposite field. All 3 hits now have been in that direction. He's dictating the action. You've got to learn that.
Fly ball to left, right at Duncan. He barely has to move. And Terrio walks back into second, 2 down.
We'll take a look here at the 3 hits that Carpenter has given up. We start right off the very first inning, a 3-1 count. Look at the command of his fastball. Derek Lee going to the opposite field. That's smart hitting there on the part of Soto. And take a look here. He's wearing that outside corner out. You try to do anything but that, you're going to get yourself out.
Well, Derek Lee, one of those 3 hits. We'll talk a lot about Dave Duncan tonight and such winning baseball. And the impact that he has, particularly on guys who are formerly thought of as journeymen or washed up or done, and he's turned them into serious winners.
Toby, there's a lot to talk about with that man. 30 years as a big league pitching coach.
I mean, his manager, Tony La Russa, is going to the Hall of Fame. We know that. When all is said and done, he's one of the game's great managers. But there's been a lot of talk about Duncan maybe joining him one day in Cooperstown.
I don't have a vote, but if I did, he would certainly get it. He's changed the game for the better in a big way.
2 down, a man at second. Lee trying to pick up the RBI, which would be just his 19th. Lee has been very healthy in his career since 2000, playing in at least 150 games every season. Bothered by neck spasms and a bulging disc this year. The breaking ball in there for a strike. Last 2 years, Lee has hit 20 and 22 home runs. They'd like to see more home run productivity from Lee. He had 46 in 05.
Yeah.
And twice in other seasons over 30. He lays off the low one. And the count is full.
You got a base to play with here. Got a couple of men on in the first inning, and you were able to retire Milton Bradley. Carpenter's not going to give in here. He's going to try to make a quality pitch.
And did on the inside corner with a breaking ball to freeze lead. Big pitch indeed. Big night for the Cardinal organization with Carpenter returning. And so far, he's throwing shutout baseball at home. Well, this is what we anticipated. A good pitchers duel shaping up. Cubs and Cardinals, Dempster and Carpenter. Now they square off here in the third inning. Bottom half. See if Carpenter even attempts to swing the bat. It was swinging it that caused his injury in mid-April, but he insists, I will not be an automatic out when I hit. People expecting him to be a barn on the side of the road. He does swing, and right back to Dempster. That's already the third ball hit to the pitcher. One fast out. Swing away with ESPN for 2 nights of Major League Baseball. First at 8 Eastern on Sunday night. Presented by Taco Bell. Ryan Braun leading Milwaukee against Joe Mauer in Minnesota. Then Tuesday night at 8 Eastern, you'll see Braun and the Brewers again against Albert Pujols and St. Louis.
When I think about Milwaukee, it starts for me with Ryan Braun. But you got to think about the protection. I think Prince Fielder with 37 RBIs already. And how about the acquisition of Trevor Hoffman? A perfect 9 for 9 in save opportunities.
Another guy headed for the Hall of Fame as Brendan Ryan, hitting .279, gets in. Ryan, a good glove guy. He's 27 years old, out of Los Angeles. Made some excellent defensive plays for La Russa. Free agent signee Khalil Green slumping toward the Mendoza line and battling tendonitis in a wrist. Ryan and Tyler Green and Brian Barton have all gotten a shot at shortstop. So that's been a bit of a revolving door for the Cardinals.
You know, just to kind of explain to the fans out there, Tony La Russa's thought on hitting the pitcher 8. What he's trying to do, he's got 3 guys now that he hopes can get on base in front of Pujols. You know, let's say the pitcher makes the last out of the inning. You know, you've got those 3 guys. He doesn't really want a pitcher on base in front of Albert. You know, you're going to block the bases. You're not going to have an opportunity to run, to maybe steal a base. So Tony, he believes in it, and he has logic behind it, and you know, he's had success with it.
What's interesting about it is, and he has had success with it, he's recently won a World Series. Other managers have not followed suit. It's not one of those La Russa things that other managers have taken and run with.
Not everybody has an Albert Pujols.
Jam shot foul, back to the screen. Skip Schumacher on deck. Hey, you look at this lineup. Schumacher, the young Colby Rasmus, Brendan Ryan here,
yeah.
Joe Thurston, Stavanoa. I mean, it's not all-star laden. It's Albert and the Invincibles, maybe. But we'll find out by the end of the season. A check swing, did he offer? He did not, says C.B. Buckner. A lot of rookies. Ryan having some trouble with his helmet, a little malfunction there. Most starts by rookies. The Cardinals lead the pack
by a lot,
92. How about that? And over the Cincinnati Reds. And Ryan got his headgear all squared away. He has not hit a home run on the young season. The 3-2 got jammed again. Ryan really getting worked inside by Ryan Dempster.
He's a guy that normally will lead off against left-handed pitching. When Tony La Russa tries to get something going on the top of the order, a lot being asked of him here, but like you mentioned, with Tony La Russa, it's there's only so much you can do.
3-2, a chopper. Terrio on the charge. On the move, close, got him. Boy, that was bang bang at first. Ryan retired awfully close. Terrio just nipped him at the bag, according to first base ump C.B. Buckner.
He had a little bit of trouble getting the ball out of his glove, and I think he got real fortunate because of the height and the wingspan of his first baseman, Derek Lee. Look at the hesitation there. Take a look at Derek Lee going and getting that. You're looking at a 6'6" guy with arms to match, going out there, just getting Ryan by a half step.
And did get him. 2 down for Schumacher. One more look at the close play.
Just another one of those things that he adds for you there. And a great call by C.B. Buckner.
Down into the dirt. And again, this is the man who has hit Dempster better than any of the St. Louis Cardinals. Schumacher now 10 out of 25 against the righty.
But you remember that first at bat when he chased that fastball off the outside corner. You get a guy where you've had success with, you can't wait to get to home plate. You better wait till you get a good pitch.
Up the middle. That's going to bounce through and by the diving scales. A seeing eye single for Schumacher. As we go to the studio for an Astros Brewers update, here's Cindy.
We're going to pick it up bottom 2. Miguel Tejada steps in against Yovani Gallardo. Advantage Tejada, his 3rd of the season. Astros up 2-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. NL Central leading Brewers putting their 7-game win streak on the line. And of course, both those teams you guys are watching tonight are very interested in the outcome. Dave, Rick, back to you.
Well, they are, Cindy, because they're both 3 games behind those red-hot Brewers, who've also won 9 of their last 10, sitting atop the division. Back is Schumacher. We glance at the standings in the Central. Milwaukee at 25-14, and Cindy mentioned a 7-game winning streak.
Really a tough stretch for the Cardinals here. These 3 against the Cubs. Then Kansas City, who's playing well, comes to town. Then they've got to go to Milwaukee for 3 games.
Milwaukee losing Ricky Weeks and a big injury for the Brewers. He was playing so well.
They've been waiting on that for a couple of years.
A great talent and a big loss. Outside on Rasmus.
The Brewers came here over the weekend and swept the St. Louis Cardinals. Ken Maka doing a great job with that ball club. All you heard about was what they lost. They lost their manager. They lost their pitching coach, Mike Maddox, to Texas. Sabathia, of course, Sheets.
Pujols on deck. Bluffs the bunt and pulls it away.
This is one of those moments. Rasmus, he's got some power. Hit the 2-run homer last night. He hit a homer on Friday in the game that got rained out, got taken away from him. You know, Pujols is in the on-deck circle. This is one of those spots right now where Dempster has got to command that fastball.
And if you're Colby Rasmus, a good spot to hit in. He checks and it's across for a strike. Rasmus out of Phoenix City, Alabama.
They love him.
They do, and he helped lead his high school there to the national championship his senior year. He pitched on that team. He was clocked at 91 miles an hour. A cut and a miss, and all even at 2-2.
I think the Cubs have found a hole in the young slugger. He struck out on off-speed pitches the first at bat, and here with the count 2-1, looking fastball, looking for that 91-mile-an-hour fastball that he had, not getting it there, and you got to figure Dempster going to come back with the same pitch.
Grounded to first. Nifty stab there by Lee on a change of pace pitch by Ryan Dempster. Up next, winning baseball. Some will tell us why Dave Duncan could be in the Hall of Fame for his coaching talent.
Scoreless through 3 innings here tonight. Cubs versus the Cardinals, something that a pitching coach would obviously love. And I don't think there's a better pitching coach in the game of baseball than Dave Duncan. We're going to talk about winning baseball. Go back to his first Cy Young Award winner, Lamar Hoyt. How about Dave Stewart with all of his 20-win season? Bob Welch with a Cy Young and 27 victories one year, and Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley. OB, all of those guys. We look at Darryl Kyle here, a 20-game winner for Duncan when he had the Cardinal jersey on. All of those guys had struggled. Every one of them had had problems. Eckersley was basically going to be released. Chris Carpenter was under 500 with Toronto until he came to St. Louis, until he got with Dave Duncan. He was 51-18 the first 3 years with Duncan here. There are too many names, too many situations where you can just say it was a coincidence.
Milton Bradley batting here 0 for 1. So if you could break it down, the 2 or 3 things that Duncan does.
3.
What are the 3?
The 3. To be a complete pitching coach at the big league level, Tony La Russa talks about it a lot. There's 3 things you have to be able to do. Confidence. You have to instill that in your pitchers. Mechanics and the books. Mechanics are just simple. You know, you saw a shot earlier in the ball game where he touched his shoulder with Yadier Molina, telling what Carpenter was doing, get it back on track. The books, that tells you what a hitter's weaknesses are. To me, confidence, sometimes that's just adding a pitch. That's telling Dave Stewart you need a split finger fastball. That's telling Darryl Kyle you need to tighten up your curveball. With Chris Carpenter, he moved him to the first base side of the pitcher's mound. What that did was it opened up the outside corner and helped him command the inner half of the plate.
Oh, that one just missed. Carpenter wanted that strike on Milton Bradley, but did not get it.
You know, when you got a guy dangerous as Bradley can be, you hate to have what looked to be a strike taken away from you, particularly when it's the leadoff hitter in a scoreless ball game.
Knocks that one foul, so Bradley's still alive. Fontenot on deck, and then Soto.
So many names. Let's go with Kent Bottenfield. How about Kyle Loesch right now? What, 15-6 a year ago? Basically given up on. Joel Pinheiro, he couldn't do anything right in Boston. Now he's one of the best pitchers.
That one runs all the way to the backstop. Ball 4 on Bradley. Kyle Loesch. I mean, when you think about the caliber of the names, Dave Stewart, 4 straight 20-win seasons. Dennis Eckersley becoming a closer, 386 career saves under Duncan following his conversion from a starter. And now Chris Carpenter and what he's done since putting on the St. Louis uniform. Of course, he's had a lot of trouble staying healthy.
Carpenter, his big problem was pitching in to left-handed hitters and commanding the outside corner to right-handed hitters. All Duncan did was took him and moved him to the other side of the rubber to open that up. I mean, you just take a look there from this angle right here. If him being on the first base side of the rubber, it's going to be easier, more of a direct line to get to that inside corner. That's all it took with him. Everything else was there.
He's dug a hole there. He's not going anywhere. Mike Fontenot 0 for 1. He's grounded out to first. It seems like everybody else has tonight. That has been the hot corner for both Pujols and Lee. No score in the 4th inning. We anticipated a very well pitched game, and that is unfolding here in game 2 of this series. St. Louis won last night 3-0 to open it up.
Just more and more names that I'm thinking. How about Jeff Suppan? MVP of the NLCS, coming up big against the Mets. That was another thing. And then what happens when they leave? You know,
they don't. A lot of them don't sustain it.
They have struggled. Woody Williams pitched outstanding here, went to Houston, and he struggled.
And I think the other factor is with Tony La Russa, he has been a pitching coach on 2 world championship teams. So there's the individual success and then the success of the staffs he has put together.
Look at what he's done with that bullpen this year. Ryan Franklin, that's your closing.
High for a ball here to Fontenot, and the count 3-0.
And that pitch count continuing to climb for Carpenter. We were told 75.
At 53 as of right now, and he drills in a strike at 92. Soto to hit next.
There's a big spot, I think, for Lou Piniella. You got a little bit of power at home plate. If you send the runner, you're going to force Fontenot to swing at a pitch that could be called a strike. Anything close. Do you leave him there or do you send him?
Runner goes. Knocked toward left center field. On the move, Duncan. He's going to haul it in on the move. Bradley had to retouch. He had gone around. Here's the throw to first base, and they got him. A double play. Bradley never gets back. So the danger of putting the man in motion. He had already gone all the way around second base. He had to retouch, and it was too far.
Yeah, he went too far. That's the problem there. That baseball is right in front of you on the hit and run. All you got to do is take a look after your second step. You could see that Duncan was able to get there. No reason for Bradley to be that far out in front. That ball was basically a routine fly ball. You get to second base and you hold. When he rounded the bag, he put himself in trouble.
Boy, Carpenter really needed that lift with that pitch count starting to creep up.
No question about that. That's, you know, you're taking and you're giving him an out, which possibly could get him through 5 innings.
So now the base is empty, and Soto, the hitter, he has singled tonight. Drives that one to left center, and there's Duncan. Side retired. Carpenter will gladly take the gift offered up by Milton Bradley on the base running mistake. Still a 0-0 game in St. Louis. We welcome you back to Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice on a picture-perfect night in St. Louis. It's a scoreless game, although the Cubs just lost a base runner.
You know how they had early batting practice before the game today after the 3-hit shutout last night? There might be some early base running tomorrow because of the mistake there made by Milton Bradley. Normally a good base runner.
Normally is. Here's Pujols to start the home half of the fourth inning. He knocks that one foul, but he went too far, and he almost came to a complete stop when he rounded the bat.
I don't think he knew where the baseball was because he did not take a look back on the hit and run. That's not a straight steal. You're not going to do that with a 3-1 count. The guy's going to be swinging the bat. You've got to know where the baseball's going.
Yeah, he just lost it. Hammer to short. That one eats up Terrio in the left center field. Pujols going to keep on coming. Here's the throw that won't get him. Very aggressive. Pujols on the bases. He should have his second hit because this one was tagged.
No question about that. I totally agree. Good base running on one ball club's part. Bad base running on the other. That's a good pitch. That's just a great hitter. This ball is a rocket. It eats up Terrio. But then after that, Pujols right there going all the way. He made up his mind to begin with, and a little hesitation on the part of Soriano takes a double play out of order, and you could see that the frustration on the part of Dempster. You've got to get it in there.
It's a double, and Pujols is 2 for 2 on a hot smash. And here's Molina showing bunt, drops it down. Dempster has to field it. He'll go for the tag, gets him down to third, moves Albert Pujols 90 feet away.
This is exactly what Tony La Russa did last night in the first inning. Got a man on first base. He bunted him to second. When Pujols could not drive him in with 2 outs, Molina drove in the first run of the ball game. It's a team game plan here. There's Molina, who had a base hit last night with a man on second. Tony La Russa said, you know what? That doesn't happen all the time. Let me get him to third, and you know what? Then we'll see if we can't get him in.
How about the cleanup man dropping down a sacrifice bunt?
It's not your typical. It's not your typical cleanup, man, and you know, it's not your typical play.
Well, the infield in. Chris Duncan, the hitter.
Yeah, Dempster, this is a good move on his part here. He was frustrated that Soriano did not get the ball in that allowed Pujols to get to second base. Instead of being mad and frustrated and maybe giving up a 2-run homer, you step off and you kind of regroup.
Fouled off his foot. Duncan, the son of the Cards pitching coach Dave Duncan. See what they've done with men in scoring position. Pretty good, 294.
Tony La Russa loves the suicide squeeze, but he does not love the setup that he has here. Duncan does not have any sacrifice bunts on the year. And you know what? You don't want a collision at home plate with Albert Pujols.
1-1 overthrown. 2 balls, 1 strike. 0-0 in the fourth. Well, last July, in the last All-Star game ever played at Old Yankee Stadium, Dempster struck out the side in the bottom of the 9th inning to send that Midsummer Classic to extra innings. He needs to summon some of that magic right here.
Yeah, I remember that.
Base hit. Scales couldn't reach it, and Pujols is in. And the Cardinals strike first.
That's all about poor defense on the part of the Cubs. Good base running on the part of Albert Pujols. Outstanding managing on the part of Tony La Russa. You bring the infield in. Any kind of good contact that's not directly hit at somebody is going to get you the lead. Not a bad pitch right there. You could see that he was fooled out in front of it. But when you bring the infield in, which you had to do there, all you can do is dive. When it was not hit at Bobby Scales, that made it easy for Albert Pujols to score the first run.
One down as Stamanoa will swing through it. He whiffed in the second inning. The Cubs, like the Cardinals, have been beaten up in the early going of the season. At various times they have lost ace Carlos Zambrano. We mentioned he returns on Friday against San Diego from a hamstring. Aramis Ramirez with a separated shoulder. He's out until probably July 1. Derek Lee, Giovanni Soto, Milton Bradley have all been out for stretches, and yet Sut, they're just about at the pace they said last year when they won 97 games as far as wins.
Well, Lou Piniella was saying that we're fortunate.
Ground ball to the shortstop. Terriota scales one, and they turn the double play. Side retired, but Pujols doubles and scores the first run off Dempster. So it is on to the fifth here in St. Louis, and the Cardinals have a 1-0 lead against their rivals in the division. St. Louis grabs the 1-0 lead. Albert Pujols with the double to start it off the glove of Theriot. And the catcher Molina dropped down a picture-perfect sacrifice. And with the infield drawn in, it was Chris Duncan with a single to right field. And the Cardinals, with some solid fundamental baseball, have themselves the lead here. Bobby Scales leading off in the fifth inning. Cubs have now gone 13 innings since they last scored. Pitcher on deck and Ryan Dempster, and that one will miss for a ball.
Hard to score when you don't have many base runners, and then when you do get a base runner, you make a base running mistake.
Well, Milton Bradley certainly did that. That's a knee-high strike.
Lou Piniella had a closed-door meeting with his coaches before the game tonight, a long time before he brought out the starting lineup. I think he might have an open-door meeting with the team if this continues.
Well, that'll be a dandy. Cut on and miss for strike three. As Scales whiffs back to the studio, here's Cindy Brunson.
Thanks, guys. With this Kawasaki studio update, let's check in on the Rockies and the Braves. Bottom four. Now Escobar steps in with two aboard, and everybody's coming home. Opposite field line shot. This off Jorge De La Rosa. Atlanta with a 9 spot in the bottom of the fourth. Those runs in support of Javier Vazquez, looking for his first win at home this season. Bottom six, Atlanta up 10-1. Guys, back to you.
Cindy, thank you very much. A big night for the Braves as Ryan Dempster gets in. He is 0 for 1. Inning 105 coming in without a home run. Little trickler off the hill. Ryan with time and gets it. 2 up and 2 down. Carpenter could certainly use another quick inning. He's looked sharp tonight.
He really has. And take a look at him getting ground balls to Albert Pujols. There's the cut fastball. Here comes the curveball down below the zone. Pujols with another easy play. And then take a look here. That's the two-seam fastball in on the hands of Bobby Scales. Carpenter's been outstanding, and Pujols has been busy.
Here's Soriano. He has struck out and grounded out. He's been one of the healthy Cubs for Lou Piniella. Big reason Chicago is 11-5 in the month of May, despite all the injuries. And he has hit Carpenter well in the past. A .429 career average. That's in 28 at bats.
Couple of home runs is what he was thinking there.
Now Soriano, a 40-40 man in 06.
40-40-40.
Yeah.
How about that? 40 doubles to go with the homers and stolen bases.
Already 12 big flies this season. Off the end of the bat, floats that one down the right field line, but off into the seats.
Tell you what, I think Joe Thurston may have a big part in what happens in the next inning or so. He's going to lead off in the bottom of the fifth. If he gets on, I would let Carpenter bunt, and with the pitch count being just right in the low 60s right now, I'd run him back out there. This game is still not won by any means, but if Thurston does not get on, there's no way that you can just give away another out and let Carpenter go up and hit. I think if he gets this out right here, Thurston will determine the night for Chris Carpenter.
34-year-old out of Exeter, New Hampshire. Waved at and missed. He's made Soriano look bad a couple of times. 2 strikeouts in the inning. This season 15 innings, and he is not allowed to run. They just need him out there more often. And off the DL. They've got him off the DL tonight. Cubs Cardinals through the years, and a rivalry that has dominated the Midwest. And tonight, on a perfect evening for baseball in St. Louis, the Cardinals have the 1-0 lead on this Wednesday night. That might be all for Chris Carpenter. He did get several handshakes, one from Tony La Russa after that inning.
But I really feel like he will go up to try to lay down a bunt if Thurston can get on base. When you only have 4 extra men, you've got to save him if you're Tony La Russa.
Thurston 0 for 1. Socks that one right at the shortstop. Theriot to his right to haul it in. That one hit right on the screws, but nothing for Thurston. So Carpenter's spot due up, and he continues to sit.
Yeah, he's done. But you could see Tony La Russa hadn't made up his mind. No one had been out to the on-deck circle until now. It looks like this is going to be Wainwright.
So Adam Wainwright, right-hander, will bat in this spot for Carpenter. So a pitcher for a pitcher. And that is all for Carpenter, who goes 5, allowing 3 hits, no runs, 4 strikeouts, and 2 walks in his return. The bat goes flying out of the hand of Wainwright. A little grin as well.
If Carpenter would have done that, he might have hurt that oblique again. You wonder. I'm sure Tony La Russa, Dave Duncan gave Wainwright the heads up. We might be using you. Make sure you've got your spikes on. Go down there and get some swings. Make sure you get loose. We can't afford for you to get hurt. He's a good athlete.
Yeah, he is. Just has to remember to take care of his bat before he gets in there. Needs to be a little stickier. He held on to that one. The count 0-2.
Good hitting pitcher. There's a big difference.
Carpenter is not.
What that normally means is you can hit a fastball. You're not going to hit that.
No, sir. Not the breaking stuff away. He strikes out. 2 gone. The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN tomorrow night. Carmelo Anthony and the Denver Nuggets take on Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. It's game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. The NBA playoffs on ESPN. Great game 1. Bullpen activity. And McClellan getting ready, the right-hander, Kyle McClellan. He'll take over on the hill for Carpenter, and the Cardinals have to be delighted with the performance of their ace right-hander. Back on the hill for the first time in a month tonight.
But you won't know, honestly, it'll be until tomorrow. I mean, he can pitch. When he's healthy, he can dominate.
Blooper foul by Ryan, who is 0 for 1 tonight. He's grounded to short.
But when he gets up tomorrow, and he takes a little inventory check to see where everything is at. The shoulder, the elbow, the hamstrings, the oblique. It's all been a problem in the past. He has got to test all of that before they'll know if tonight was a true success.
Injuries have certainly marked his career. When healthy, he's been one of the best in the game. But since breaking in with Toronto in '97, he's basically missed 3 entire seasons to arm and shoulder injuries.
And you know what, Obi? Nobody works harder. Nobody prepares themselves physically and mentally any better than Carpenter does. It's just it's been one thing after another. I remember in my last year with the Cardinals here in '94. I started the season injured, got injured in spring training, and then I got rolling. I won a couple of games. I had a lead. I hit a stand-up double and pulled a hamstring going from first to second.
High bounding ball. Fontenot handles this chance.
It's almost like you say at that point, enough's enough. And Carpenter's getting close to that point.
Well, he was very good tonight. We'll see about tomorrow morning. He's in line for the win, though. The end of 5. St. Louis leads the Cubs by 1. Well, the Cubs coming up here in the 6th inning on Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice. Carpenter finished for the night, but awfully good over 5 innings. He gives way to Kyle McClellan, who's pitched very well. 2-1 with an ERA of .260 and fields his position quite well, too. A fast out to get Theriot, who's gone 1 for 3. Ryan Theriot is part of one of the strangest steroid controversies of the era last week, when Chicago Sun-Times columnist Rick Tellender used Theriot, who hit 1 home run all last season, has 5 this season, as an example of all players being under the microscope of suspicion as far as steroids. And the headline of the piece and the subhead, which by the way Tellender did not write, said small hitter, big problem. As Fukudome dances away from that pitch. That is going to get him, however. Got him on the leg, and he will take first base, struck by the pitch.
Well, Terrio felt like he was got because of the headline. A lot of times people just look at that and they're, oh, you know, there it goes. And he saying before the game, you know, you work your whole life, you know, to make things like this happen. Realizing last year, you know, the power wasn't there. That's an area I can improve in. You work on it. You make some changes, and all of a sudden somebody says that you're cheating.
The subhead said when even Terrio raises suspicions, baseball has earned cynicism. 5'11". He didn't think it was fair to be labeled a steroid suspect. He called it comical. He did meet face-to-face with Rick Tellender at some point at Wrigley Field, but he was not very happy at all to be included.
Well, what happened with Ryan was in spring training he had a conversation with Ryan Sandberg and Alan Trammell. A couple of guys that didn't hit for power early in their careers. He says, you know what, I've got to turn that around. I kind of got worn down in August and September. What do I do? Well, Ryan Sandberg says, you know what, 2-0 with 3-1, you know, you're taking too many pitches. Well, he says to take signs on. He said, well, you need to talk to the manager. You need to prove in spring training that you can drive the ball. Not so much hit home runs, but drive the ball. Get into a scoring position. Extra base hit kind of thing. Well, he has proven that this year, and the take sign has gone away.
So taking away the take sign, he's getting some pretty fat pitches to drive, and he's done that. As that one is up high on Derek Lee, he has singled and struck out looking. You know, at the time when home run totals were at cartoon levels in Major League Baseball, so many writers and broadcasters were justifiably blamed for not speaking up, not saying enough, not addressing that problem at the time. I'm just not sure that making everybody a part of that picture and the possibility that they might be doing something is the right way to go. That's pretty reckless.
Well, and how about not being in charge of the headline? And I know that's constantly worked. The Sun Times got me. Opening day 1985, pictures of Tom Seaver and I on the front page, and they got the quotes reversed. 85, after we'd won in 84, Seaver's quote was, if we make a couple of trades, you know, and we get the attitude turned around, we should be okay. How do you think I felt walking in the ballpark opening day and all my teammates looking at me like the attitude was wrong and we need a couple of players?
This was after 84.
Yeah. I had nothing to do with it, and yet all of a sudden you're guilty.
Outside for a ball on Lee. Milton Bradley to hit next. Terrio seems to have handled the whole controversy with a lot of class, although he was certainly deeply hurt by it. He said, first I tried to kind of laugh it off.
Yeah.
Now I realize that whatever anybody writes, whatever the headline says, the public makes up its own mind anyway. A cut and a miss by Lee as he flails away and strikes out. And there are two gone.
Well, you hate to see that happen to a good guy. Ryan Terrio has won everywhere he's ever been. He won the national championship in 2000 at LSU. He won a championship in A-ball. He won another one in Double-A. And since he's become the regular shortstop for the Cubs the last 2 years, they've gotten to the postseason. That's the first time they've gotten to the postseason in back-to-back years since 1907 and 08. So I agree with him. That is unfair for that finger to be pointed at him. With really, you know, they're going to come back and say, okay, you know, we didn't mean it like that. But what size is that article? And where's it at in the paper?
Yeah, Tellender did say, and the newspaper did say, no one's accusing Terrio of being a steroid user, of using performance enhancers, but that everybody is under that umbrella of suspicion, particularly in light of the Manny Ramirez suspension of 50 games. Throw over to first base, diving back in. Fukudome struck by a pitch. A 1-0 St. Louis lead here in the 6th. Bradley, 30-year-old switch hitter. He's had some injury problems this season and a 1-game suspension for allegedly making contact with an umpire during an argument last month. So it's been a cold start for him.
I was talking with Gerald Perry about that, and he was saying, you know, he's just not gotten consistent playing time because of, like you said, the injuries, this, that, the suspension. They're hoping to just be able to put him out there for 8 or 9 days, and it'll come around.
Well, he is hoping to make up for his base running mistake earlier in this contest. When on a fly ball and a hit and run play, fly to left field, he rounded second base. He was moving first to second, went too far, and he was doubled off.
Forgot to pick up the baseball.
2 down, cuts right through that one.
I mean, just take a look right here. Watch it what he does. That's a hit and run. He never looked at home plate. And then when he got to second, he didn't know where the baseball was. He's looking around, all of a sudden there it's caught. And now that's too late.
Typically a good base runner, not on that play. He has hit 4 home runs, but hitting in the 180s coming into tonight. The breaking ball inside. And now 2-1. Bradley, a high on base guy and a power threat to boot, an all-star for Texas last year.
Boy, huge numbers for him last year. Take a look right here at what we were talking about. When the hit and run is on, right here, look at him. He never looks back. That's not a straight steal. You're not going to do that with Milton Bradley. He never looked back. That was the mistake. The result is that he got picked off. But the reason happened long before that.
It looked like, though, he was looking out at Duncan in left field like he had picked up the ball. At some point, anyway, he had picked it up. Realized it was being caught. Thrown out at first base. And now he'll take a seat, a strikeout victim. McClellan gets him. He strikes out 2 in the inning. And the Cardinals continue to protect their slim lead at home, 1-0 St. Louis over Chicago.
An outstanding performance tonight on the part of Chris Carpenter. You take a look at the 1-0 lead. Let's take a look at the velocity here. A big concern is his strength. You see that 93 miles an hour in the first inning? Take a look at this in the 4th inning. Still 93 miles an hour. Command on the breaking ball. That was a 3-2 curveball and able to take it below the zone on Soriano. His total command. Look at him painting the inside corner there with the cut fastball. And OB for a starting pitcher, you know, the 3rd time through the lineup, then you start breaking out the changeups. Carpenter never got to that point, but he has gotten them the lead.
1-0, a strike on Schumacher. Over the top of Dempster. Here comes Terrio, challenged on this play. Got rid of it in a hurry to retire Schumacher. Is now 1 for 3. 1 man out. Time for a pitching summary presented by Scott's. 2 starters. They both pitch well. Dempster threw 5 1/3. He's allowed 4 hits. Gave up that leadoff double to Pujols in the 4th inning.
Well, and there were 2 guys that had a chance to make that play on Pujols. The ground ball got by Terrio, but it was hit so hard you don't blame him there. But then it did not get in from the outfield in time to keep a hustling Pujols from getting to second with nobody out.
That's exactly what Dempster was screaming. We had a shot at him. Get it in, get it in. Not fast enough. Here's Rasmus. He is 0 for 2. And then Albert Pujols.
A lot of credit to Dempster for regrouping. And you say, well, that's your job. You're supposed to. Yeah, but not everybody can after a mistake like that cost you the lead.
Two 2-0. You see Ryan Dempster with that wiggle of the glove, something he started doing over a year ago.
Yep. And he does that to disguise the split-fingered fastball that he gets the grip with. He felt like he was tipping that pitch, and it was just something that he came up with. And you know what happens when you put the split-fingered fastball in the glove, the glove's a little bit wider because you've got your fingers around the baseball. And hitters, there's times they can pick that up, just exactly how wide your glove is. So what he does, he just flips it back and forth all over the place.
Rocketed but foul. Still 2-2.
And I would think right now with the young hitter aggressive on that fastball out in front of it, it would be a perfect time for that split-fingered fastball. See how he turns it around like that? That's just so that he does not tip off the split-fingered fastball.
Clever handwork for the Canadian, who is a good magician as well. Foul at the plate.
That's right. He's got all the tricks, doesn't he? You were talking about the All-Star game. That was a great story. Mariano Rivera comes in the top of the ninth, Yankee Stadium last year, puts up a 0. All they got to do is score, and the American League wins another All-Star game. Dempster strikes out the side.
Part of a terrific season for Dempster. Went 17-6, a 2.96 ERA. Beat the Cardinals twice as well. Hit hard, and that's fair by the diving Lee. Off the short sidewall. He wants 2. Up with it, Bradley, and the throw not in time. Rasmus with the double as he scorched it.
Kid's got some pop. #1 draft pick a couple of years ago. Off-speed pitch. You could see he was out in front of it, but so strong and able to keep this one fair. Makes a nice little adjustment after struggling in his first 2 at-bats. In scoring position for Albert Pujols, but I don't imagine that'll last long.
You know, there's a base open. They're going to put him on. This will put runners at first and second.
Here's where you really miss Ryan Ludwig. He's in the lineup. This probably does not happen. They tried that a few times last year, and it seemed like every time Ludwig made him pay. 37 homers and 113 RBIs on the disabled list now for St. Louis.
With a hamstring injury. And that is ball 4. So Molina, the cleanup hitter, dropped down a sacrifice bunt in the 4th inning, which led to the only run of the ball game. Will come up and hit again. We'll see what he's up to. The runners at first and second. Molina does have 3 home runs. And he has hit Dempster fairly well. 5 out of 18 in his career. Although he's scuffling right now against everybody.
I'm thinking a stolen base attempt. I'm thinking a possible hit and run here. Molina's a guy, obviously most catchers, that can hit into a lot of ground ball double plays. Tony La Russa might want to manage a little bit in this situation.
Molina is grounded into 4. Runners holding on the first pitch, and that's a strike. 1 man out.
That's that good slider Larry Rothschild was talking about. Just so much sharper. Not so much the command on it or when he throws it or where he throws it. Just the late tilt to it. There's an outstanding pitching coach as well.
Larry Rothschild, one of the very best in the business. He's had great success with a couple of different clubs. A little squibber to the right side. Scales to Terrio, got one. Quick turn, double play. So Dempster gets out of the inning. He gets Molina to hit into the 4-6-3. And it's still 1-0 as we move on to the 7th. That's one of the best rivalries in sports. I can't believe I married a Cubs fan. Well, the Cardinals a little happier at the moment. They have the slim 1-0 advantage. Top of the 7th inning, it'll be Fontenot, Soto, and Scales due to hit, as the Cubs have not been productive in this series. Not a single run, and 6 for 48.
And you just look at the numbers. Derek Lee, the cleanup hitter, 229. Bradley next, 188. Fontenot, 207. Soto, 198.
Not a lot of punch for Chicago. Certainly missing Aramis Ramirez.
Well, and I agree, and I think we're past the point of a slow start, though. I mean, I'll give you that the first month, but we're closing in on the end of the second month.
Yeah, it's not so early anymore. Fontenot is 0 for 2. The Cubs have said that, getting Ramirez back around July 1 is very realistic. If it's later than that, they'd be surprised.
He's still in pain. Watching him in the trainer's room today, going through the range of motion, that is getting better, but there's still some soreness there. And Ramirez was saying this was an injury that he had back in 2000, and he had also in 1998. So it's been a while.
Third baseman with a separated shoulder. Fontenot, a gentle ground ball to Schumacher. 1 up and 1 down. Major League Baseball and People magazine are looking for individuals who've made a difference in their community. 30 everyday All-Stars will be honored at the 2009 All-Star Game. That's right here in St. Louis. To nominate, just go to peopleallstars.com.
That's a great idea. And speaking of people that do things in their community, anyone better than that?
Line shot into the left field corner, but foul off the bat of Soto, who has singled and flied out to left.
I don't know where he gets his energy at. I mean, he's constantly in the community, at schools, at hospitals during the day, and then comes out here and performs every night.
He started the Pujols Family Foundation in 2005. It's dedicated to the care and development of people with Down syndrome. He also reaches out to impoverished families in the Dominican Republic, his native country. Does so much here in St. Louis. Popped up into short right. And who will make this catch? The second baseman makes the grab. Schumacher over the shoulder. 2 down. Back to the studio for an update. Here's Cindy.
Thanks so much. With his Baseball Tonight update, we're talking about David Ortiz with his first home run since last fall. How about 3 straight home runs in the second inning for the Yankees, make it a Major's best 8 straight wins for New York, and a triple play in the 4th inning for the Rangers against the Tigers, first by Texas since 2002. Carl Ravitch again. We'll be talking about all of that on ESPN2 at the top of the hour. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Cindy. A lot to talk about, and particularly David Ortiz getting off the home run schneid, as he had gone and set a personal record of consecutive at-bats in between home runs, had not homered since last September for the Red Sox. Scales takes this one up high. How about the Yankees? Just red hot. They have ripped off 8 in a row. That looks like it's going to be a great race in the American League East. Toronto out in front right now, but the Red Sox and the Yankees, and of course the defending champions Tampa Bay, all expected to be right there down to the bloody end.
Yankees are about to get Chin-Ming Wong back, and a healthy Chin-Ming Wong, former 19-game winner, but they need Posada back.
Bobby Scales here, 31-year-old rookie. He's reached base in every major league game he's played so far, all 8 of them, but not tonight. 10-11 years in the minor leagues. As he slaps a liner, here comes Duncan, and that's all. They go 1-2-3. More good work by McClellan. Hey, up next, a walk in the park takes us on a little stroll around the new Busch Stadium when we come back.
Just an absolute beautiful ballpark as we take a look at a walk in the park. There's the arch. You know how beautiful it can be. You take a look at all the fans. You've got access to all the players, your team, their team. Of course, a great broadcaster. There's Mike Shannon, possibly going into the Hall of Fame this year. And then you look at the monuments. Jack Buck. You know that Harry Carey was here. Lou Brock, Red Shandies, Stan the Man Musial. It does not get any better than this ballpark.
And inside the beautiful confines of New Busch Stadium, St. Louis on top of the Cubs 1-0 on a Wednesday night. Some of the best tradition you'll find anywhere, and some of the best baseball fans in America, bar none. They've had a lot to cheer about. Some great teams.
It is spectacular what they did with this ballpark, though. This is one of my favorite new ballparks. Everything's about the fan. Every seat angled right towards the pitcher's mound and home plate. Everything's set. Everything in the world you would want here. Plenty of room. You know, a couple of the ballparks forgot to put bullpens in. They had to add them at the end. You got lots of room out here for your bullpens, and you've got access for all of the fans to watch what goes on down there. I remember being a young kid in Kansas City, just sneaking down the bullpen to watch what it was like to see a big leaguer throw.
You know, Ryan Dempster, one of the best big league pitchers going, 17 wins last year. Duncan with a little ground ball off to the right, foul. He's gone 1 for 2. The big RBI single that drove in Albert Pujols back in the 4th inning. The only run Dempster has allowed. He's been awfully good. He's scattered 5 hits.
Well, he knows this is his last inning of work if he's able to get through it. He is due to lead off in the top of the 8th for the Cubs.
Duncan takes one up high for a ball. He's a big guy, 6'5", about 230. Not a big home run hitter necessarily. About 20 to 22 a year. He's hit 3 so far in 09. Little pop up into left. That's falling quickly down the line. That's going to drop in. And for an extra base hit, Duncan heading into second. He slides with the double. So he's been troubled tonight against Dempster. 2 for 3. And a great start for the Cardinals, looking for an add-on run here in the 7th.
Really a comeback year for Chris Duncan. Injured most of last year, only 6 homers, but as you mentioned, provided power for them in the past. That ball just missing the inside corner. Duncan just strong enough to get it over the infield. Soriano hustling, but there's nothing he can do. And now you got to figure with a man on second, nobody out, Tony La Russa is going to manage again.
Now Stamino will climb in. He's hit into a double play and struck out. We'll see how they play this.
I think they're waiting for a pinch runner here. Duncan's a guy that normally gets replaced defensively late in the ball game. Not only a pinch runner, it could be a pinch hitter.
And Stamino is coming back to the dugout. And it looks like Barden is going to hit for him. And here comes Rothschild out with a scouting report on this new hitter from St. Louis, Missouri. It's Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Smirnoff Ice. Cubs Cardinals from Busch Stadium. Game 2 of the series. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien alongside. And we started under sunny blue skies. It was 80 degrees. Just a perfect night in the gateway to the West.
Well, we talked about the key to Dempster being his fastball command, OB, and it has certainly been there. You go right to the very first inning, right out there on the outside corner, the easy comebacker, painting the inside corner to finish that inning. Take a look at the command. The K-zone tells you the whole story. Look at the late movement. If he misses in off the plate. That was the one area that he struggled with early in the year. He has fixed that problem. I'm telling you, not pinch running for Duncan here. I think the Cubs have got to take a chance to try to get that runner at third if the bunt is in order.
Brian Barnes showing bunt, drops it foul back toward the screen. 28 years old, right-hand batter. He was waived by Arizona last season. He played for the United States Olympic team, which won the bronze medal in Beijing, China. 258 with 3 home runs.
Had a great spring. Claimed off waivers a few years ago from Arizona.
Pulls it away and lets it pass for a ball. The count 1-1. Duncan at second base.
This is all Dempster right here, along with the help from his catcher Giovanni Soto. If this ball is not bunted down to Fontenot to make him come in, Dempster has got to come off, and he's got to try to make that play at third. There you go. You just do the little wheel play to try to shorten him up, to give yourself a little bit more room to make the play at third. Now you've got to throw a strike.
Drops it down. Fair ball. Play at first base. Gets the out there down to third. Moves Duncan.
Oh, my.
Just barely nudged out in front of the plate.
Fontenot's normally a second baseman. They had the force play. Excuse me, not a force play. They had Duncan at third. Take a look at this right here. But watch Fontenot. Look at him. Basically out of position. Comes in too far to where Soto could not make the throw to third. If he stays home, look at him coming right there. That's too much. That's too much. You could see Soto. He had plenty of time. Could have gotten a force play there. But Fontenot, not playing a lot of third base, didn't know was coming in to pick up the bunt when he should have been at the bag.
So the 1 out. Duncan at third base for Thurston, who's gone 0 for 2 last time up. Ripped the line drive, caught by the shortstop. A pitch out, no play on. And you know how much Tony La Russa loves the squeeze bunt. They count 1-0. Infield in close for Chicago. La Russa and Scioscia Will bunt in spots like this.
They love it. Well, you know, Lou Piniella grew up with Tony La Russa. I mean, they've been buddies for a long, long time. You're not going to outfox the old fox. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world here to be careful with Thurston and walking.
Another pitch out, and a count 2-0. So Lou Piniella trying to snuff out a play here, but La Russa has not attempted. Now what do? They walk him.
He's wanting to force Tony La Russa to use up his bench. He saw Khalil Green come out as the pinch hitter, and he said, you know what? I like my chances of keeping him on the infield more so than Thurston, knowing that run at third base right now could be the ball game. The Cubs are down to 6 outs.
It's an intentional pass of Thurston here. Khalil Green will come up and pinch hit in the 8th spot. That is the pitcher's hitting spot for La Russa. And he will become the 3rd man to hit there. He has lost his everyday job as the starting shortstop because of a big slump. Only hit .213 last season with San Diego. So the question with Khalil Green is this simply a carryover as far as the decline of his career? 202 at the moment.
Man, this is a guy that had everything in the world going for him a couple of years ago. 27 homers.
Nearly 100 RBIs as well with the Padres. Could be a big moment for him. Into the dirt. Good stop by Soto. Ball 1. One to nothing St. Louis in the 7th inning. Ryan Dempster trying to hang on in what is obviously his final inning. He's due to lead off in the 8th for the Cubs.
You know, Khalil Green last year punched that coat case and had the problems with his hand. Of course, Derek Lee had problems with that wrist. He has not been the same since that injury. You wonder physically how Khalil Green is doing.
Well, 0 for 8 in his career as a pinch hitter. He's hit into 3 double plays this season. Waves right through that heater. 1 ball and 1 strike. The pitch elevated anyway by Dempster, if not the fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Duncan started the frame with a double. He's at 3rd. Thurston at first base. The 1-1 to Green, a pitch out. Boy, they continue to do that, but La Russa does not have a play on. That's 3 pitch outs. Lou Piniella thinks he sees something.
I've been bearing down on Jose Oquendo, the third base coach. I've not seen him really do anything different on any of these pitches thus far with Thurston or Khalil Green.
Thurston holding. Another cut and a miss by Green. He did not look good on that swing at all. 2-2. That's what St. Louis fans have seen far too much of with the free agent signee from the Padres.
No signs at all once again from Jose Oquendo. I might have gone through and exaggerated the signs as best I could, hoping for another pitch out from the Cubs.
Cardinals trying to bring in another run. They have a 1-0 lead in the 7th. Count runs full, 3-2.
Oquendo with a long look at Tony La Russa right now. Going through a set of signs. Khalil Green taking a look. I don't think there's any way you can send Thurston here. I mean, Khalil Green, you mentioned over, he looked horrible on the 2 swings in this at bat.
Yeah, that could be right into a double play if you send the runner. Infield is in close, however. Here's the 3-2. Runners holding. Popped up. Long run in. Fukudome still coming. Sliding is Bradley. Makes the play. Tagging up Duncan. He is in to score. Milton Bradley made a fine sliding catch. But the Cardinals pick up another run on the sacrifice by Green. Just deep enough. Bradley had to make a diving play.
And it was set up earlier by the sacrifice bunt. That's the second time that the St. Louis Cardinals have manufactured a run. This is a nice play on the part of Bradley. Fukudome was playing so deep there. I don't understand that. You got to try to keep that run from scoring. He was playing deep to begin with. He got a bad break coming in. That would have been a base hit if not for the terrific effort from Milton Bradley.
Really fine catch, but it cannot save a run. And here's Brendan Ryan. He's gone 0 for 2. Thurston still there at first base, so a huge run in for St. Louis as they lead the Cubs 2-0. Ryan at 267, hitless tonight. Another pitch out, and once again the runner is holding.
That's at least 4, maybe 5.
Piniella and LaRussa trying to outguess one another. The runner goes now. The pitch is strike. The throw will not get him. So they don't pitch out, and Thurston has a theft of second. He's in scoring position.
Giovanni Soto had all kinds of time to throw him out. That's not a good jump. It was a perfect pitch to handle, but he short hopped Bobby Scales at second base, and when he did that, look at Thurston looking back. He's not the fastest guy. It wasn't the best jump, but it was a bad throw.
So Ryan can pick up an RBI here with a base hit and really make it tough on the Cubs tonight. Dempster still out there, and it's a foul into the dugout of the Cardinals. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Very few hits in this one. A total of 9, 6 for the Cardinals. Dempster's over 100 pitches.
Well, this is his 9th start of the year for Ryan Dempster, and he has gone 6 innings plus every time out. You cannot fault his effort tonight.
And 2 starts ago, he tossed 121 pitches. Bullpen is certainly all warmed up for Chicago. Piniella wants to bring somebody in. 1-2, a high fly ball into left center field. Fukudome will circle underneath it and make the catch in the alley. But Duncan scores, and Dempster has allowed 2 runs. A fine effort. He is done for the night. St. Louis on top, 2-0.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball is presented by Smirnoff Ice. Please drink responsibly. And in part by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Welcome back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien alongside for Wednesday Night Baseball. Presented by Smirnoff Ice. Pitchers duel we anticipated. 2-0 St. Louis. They dip into the bullpen again. They'll bring on the right-hander, Jason Mott. One of a number of changes here for the Cardinals. Aaron Miles batting for Dempster in the pitcher spot. He's a former St. Louis Cardinal. Spent the last 3 seasons with the Cards.
Hit over 300 last year for Tony La Russa's team, but only 161 in 31 at bats as a pinch hitter.
Now look at his numbers coming into the contest tonight. McClellan did very good work out of the bullpen on relief of Carpenter.
Well, take a look. You don't like seeing all of those walks in only 14 innings. Reason for Yadier Molina going to the mound immediately with the 2-0 count.
Drills that one in there for a strike.
That second run that Tony La Russa manufactured, as did the Cardinals, that's so big. Because in that spot there, you can't just throw it down the middle. That's a tie-in run at home plate. Not now.
The other changes now for Tony La Russa. Joe Thurston moves from third over to second. Barden will take over at third base, and Schumacher goes from second base out to right field, which is a more natural position for him. Line shot on the left. That's going to sink down for a base hit. So Miles, against his old mace, comes up and knocks a single. Time for a Reds-Phillies update. Let's go back to the studio and Cindy Brunson.
Thanks, Sitko, keeping you in the game for this one. Bottom 7 with 2 aboard. Brandon Phillips with his second triple of the season. Phillips 2 for 3. He drove in 3. Cincinnati gets the W 5-1 as Jamie Moyer falls to 3 and 4 on the season. Guys, back to you.
And that's the end of a 5-game winning streak for the Phillies, who are in first place in the National League East. Here's Soriano. He has gone 0 for 3. But with that bat of his and the lightning in his hands, the ability to tie this game up very quickly. He has struck out twice tonight, both at the hand of Chris Carpenter, who made his return to the St. Louis rotation after spending a month out of the rotation with that oblique strain, and he went 5 innings, allowing 3 hits and no runs. He can win it tonight.
I think the most encouraging part for Carpenter was 4 strikeouts, and 2 of those came in his last inning of work, which was the 5th inning.
Walked only 2. Former Cy Young Award winner. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. A called strike on Soriano. He leads all National League leadoff men in home runs and RBIs. In 2006, when he belted that career high 46 home runs we were talking about, he was with Washington. He cuts and misses, and down he goes. He's on the same kind of pace for home runs, although tonight a very quiet night, 0 for 4 with 3 Ks.
Nothing quiet about that last fastball. 97 miles an hour.
So Mott bringing it. And now it's Terrio, who's gone 1 for 3 with a double. As mentioned, showing off some power, unexpected power this season. Miles at first base, and that one runs in for a ball. 2-0 St. Louis. They've out-hit the Cubs 6-4, and Chicago has committed the only error. St. Louis won last night here 3-0. A slicer foul. Kosuke Fukudome on deck for Lou Piniella.
We talked earlier about the early hitting for Lou Piniella's team today, but it's the same old tired swings. Carpenter just, I mean, he absolutely shut him down. He was in cruise control the whole way.
Popped up right field, and Schumacher right there. 2 down in the 8th. Cubs starting to run out of opportunities. MLB.TV, it's the ultimate baseball experience, featuring 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer. For more details, visit MLB.TV, where baseball is always on. Big crowd here at Busch Stadium. Here comes La Russa. He wants to make a pitching change with Fukudome the hitter. So we will head to the break. St. Louis with a 2-0 lead. Low scoring night at Busch Stadium. And La Russa wants to keep it that way as he dips into the bullpen. Top half of the 8th inning, Dennis Reyes, the left-hander, brought on to face Kosuke Fukudome.
This is a pretty good job if you can get it. This is what his whole night is about. He's going to face one guy, good or bad. That's all that's going to happen for Reyes tonight, but he has been very good at it the last few years with Minnesota, and now again this year.
Southpaw from Mexico, last season with the Twins, a .233 ERA. Fukudome, representing the tying run, went for it there in the first pitch and almost spun him around. He's been on base twice tonight with a walk, and he's been hit by a pitch. He's also flied out to left. And he's gone from opening day star in 08 to slumping into Lou Piniella's doghouse last fall to a star again. He was fooled on that pitch, though, and it's 0-2.
I remember opening day a year ago. Cubs down 3-0. Gagne on the mound for Milwaukee. A 3-run homer by Fukudome. That one swing probably got him into the All-Star game.
He faded in the second half. Down he goes. He screwed himself into the ground. Great job by Reyes. The only man he will face all night, and he got him. One man left. 2-0 St. Louis. Welcome back to Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice. Excellent pitching in this one. St. Louis with a 2-0 lead. Holding the Cubs to 4 hits. This fan got creative in the rivalry. Sutton, you have pitched for both sides, both for the Cardinals and for the Cubs. Look at this. Completely useless by September. You're not giggling with me.
It's a blast.
Carlos Marmol coming out of the bullpen. Talented right-hander who put up a .268 ERA last season in 82 appearances.
Not a lot of fun facing this guy. A little bit wild from time to time. His fastball command improving with each outing.
Schumacher is 1 for 3 with a single, the leadoff man.
But I don't know if there's a better slider in baseball than the one you're going to see here. Almost at times cartoon-like for Carlos Marmol.
1-1 cut on and missed. So ball and 2 strikes on Schumacher. Good hitter, hitting .302, which is what he batted last season. They have made him a second baseman, bringing him in from the outfield. They want that bat in the lineup. Up the middle, ranging that way, Terrio. Tough play and a dive, and not in time. He got him at first base. Schumacher a little bit short. Terrio with a fine effort to get that throw there.
Terrio has worked really hard. You know, it reminds me a lot of is David Eckstein in improving his arm strength. Not able to add a whole lot to it, not having an above average type arm, but having that quick release. Remember David Eckstein when he was able to figure that out and get it there just in time? Ryan Terrio trying to do the same thing. Good hustle on the part of Schumacher.
I still believe, though, if you stay on your feet, you might have a better chance at making it to first base.
Everybody, I agree with you. But, you know, it's one of those moments where you've got all that adrenaline and you want it so bad. I actually did it a couple of times. I don't know what I was thinking.
Really?
It looked more like a fall than a slide. But
you got fined, didn't you?
Kangaroo.
You had to.
Oh, the kangaroo court. Oh, absolutely. They were waiting on me. I wrote a check for that. This has got to be a spot where Albert Pujols kind of starts going, you know what? Yeah, I'm finally going to get pitched to. Marmol's not going to pitch around anybody.
Albert tonight with a double and a single, and he's been intentionally walked. Scored one of the 2 runs on the board for the Cardinals. The Cubs have not scored in the series in 2 games. Rasmus has gone 1 for 3 with a double. So Luke Pinella's team scrapping right now for offense, not getting a whole lot of it.
7 hits the last 2 games.
Foul tipped in the mitt. He got him, struck him out. 2 down, and Pujols will be swinging. We invite you to swing away with ESPN for 2 nights of Major League Baseball. First at 8 Eastern on Sunday night. Ryan Braun in Milwaukee up against the Minnesota Twins and Joe Mauer. Then Tuesday night at 8, you'll see Braun and the Brewers again hosting Albert Pujols and the St. Louis Cardinals. And here comes Albert with 13 homers, 37 runs batted in. The 2008 National League Most Valuable Player. He was the National League Player of the Month for April. Hit 8 homers, drove in 28. He has slumped a little bit since then. And they have tumbled in the division. Ryan Franklin, the closer, beginning to warm up now. Look at that beard. On the fist, popped him up. The catcher with a play. Soto with Broom. And that will do it. We are through 8. Last call for the Cubs. Trying to get on the scoreboard for the first time in the series. Facing the closer for the Redbirds. Yeah, the Cubs and the Cardinals always battling it out inside this division, the National League Central. And right now the Cardinals have the upper hand as we go to the 9th inning. They bring on their closer Ryan Franklin on this Wednesday night, trying to end it. The 36-year-old out of Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Tell you what, here's another name to add to the list of successes for Dave Duncan. At one time he was 12-31 as a starting pitcher with Seattle. I'm not saying Dennis Eckersley, but the same kind of move from starting pitcher to closer, and dominating this year for the Cardinals.
Staying away from ball four, just 3 walks and 16 1/3. He struck out 14, a 1.10 ERA.
That's a great point. And talking with Dave Duncan about it, what'd you do with Ryan Franklin? I told him, your velocity doesn't matter. Forget about it. If that catcher's glove moves, you're in trouble. His command has gotten better.
Here's Derek Lee. He's gone 1 for 3 tonight. Starting the 9th inning as he takes a strike. The Cubs this series are 7 for 55. Ugly at the plate. Lee with a pretty soft first 6 weeks for him, hitting .232.
I think it's just looked like one team wanting a victory more than another tonight. Great base running, hustle on the part of the Cardinals, and poor base running on the part of the Chicago Cubs,
who have just 4 hits. There's a high fly lofted into right. Schumacher, plenty of space. He will make that catch for the out.
Let's take a look at what happened and how the scoring started tonight. Look at Albert Pujols. Ground ball up the middle. It was a shot, but it gets by Terrio, and take a look. Hesitation there on the part of Fukudome and Soriano. No hesitation on the part of Pujols. Dempster frustrated, saying, I know what's going to happen now. There's the sacrifice bunt. He gets to third. You got to bring the infield in. The ball's not hit at the second baseman, Bobby Skills. That's the difference in this ball game.
St. Louis got another run in the 7th. The bunt attempt flicked foul by Bradley, who is 0 for 2. Milton Bradley with a base running gaff in this contest. He was doubled off first base. He had already taken a turn around second on a hit and run play where he didn't pick up the flight of the ball or something. Never looked in. He was doubled off first. That was costly. He sucks that one to left field. That one's going to get right by Duncan. Up against the wall. Bradley into second base. He'll trot in with a stand-up double. So the Cubs aren't dead yet. They will bring the tying run to bat here in the 9th.
Oh, this is what Bradley did all year long. A year ago for the Texas Rangers. Not a lot of it yet with the Chicago Cubs. The command was there. It was on the outside corner, but the ball was elevated a little bit. Bradley bringing that tying run to home plate. Fontenot with 5 home runs on the year. And that's a lot when you look at the numbers for the Chicago Cubs.
He's 0 for 3 tonight. Soto would follow him.
This is where, as a pitcher, you have to make the ballpark or let the ballpark work for you. The only way he's going to hit the ball out in this ballpark is to pull it down the line between the bullpen and the foul pole. You've got to stay away, and you got to stay hard.
That would be about 350 feet. First pitch in there for a strike. Well, 3 times this season in the majors, we have seen a 5-pitcher shutout. Detroit did it just last night. Franklin is the 5th pitcher to work in this one for St. Louis. Trying to keep that 0 on the board next to the Cubs. Line shot center field. Rasmus measures it, makes the catch. Runner holding at second. And there are 2 down. So the Cardinals are 1 out away from that shutout win.
Well, Tony La Russa has been known to use that bullpen for a long time. In fact, just the other night against Milwaukee in a blowout, he used 7 guys out of his bullpen.
For La Russa and Duncan, 1 more man to get. Soto has gone 1 for 3 and a terrific season last year in winning the Rookie of the Year. Hit 23 homers. Went to the All-Star game. Did a lot of damage against St. Louis. He hit .372 against the Cardinals.
That's a mad man right there in Lou Piniella.
In for a strike. Lou wondering where his offense has gone. One ball and one strike.
Is that Tony Pena catching?
Yeah, with that leg out there. That's right, Molina.
See Molina getting down, knowing that this is a tie and run. You want to keep the ball down. He's doing everything he can to help his pitcher.
Gold Glover last year. Cut on and missed. Cardinals are one strike away from blanking the Cubs for the second night in a row here. And they love nothing more than doing that to the Chicago Cubs. Just missed. 2-2. Bradley at second, 2 away. Down and in. That fills it up on Soto. Last time shut out back-to-back games, 2006, May 4th and 5th. Arizona and San Diego.
That was probably Randy Johnson and Jake Peavy.
Did he offer? No, says C.B. Buckner. And this one will continue. Ball 4.
Tell you what, this one was close. About 40,000 umpires said he took a swing. The location was not there, not even close. But boy, the swing could have gone either way here. Was there intent to begin with? Maybe.
Oh, so close, but ball 4. Piniella goes to the bench. Micah Hoffpower will hit now. Up on the left side. He'll bat in the 8th spot.
Right along with Soriano, not other than Soriano. This might be the best power source Lou Piniella has. Hoffpower would be playing every day at first base for a lot of other teams.
And Ryan Friel is also going to pinch run for Soto at first base. So the managerial wheels are turning in this one. Well, the tying runs are on for the Cubs here in the 9th inning. Hoffpower's hit 4 homers. He's batting .304. He lines that one into right field for a base hit. Schumacher was very deep. Here comes Bradley in to score. Friel is into third. An RBI single for Hoffpower, and this is a 1-run game with the tying run at third. And here come the Cubs. Now that has quieted the big crowd in St. Louis.
He's got a great swing. Hit over 300 last year with a bunch of power in AAA. Made the club right out of spring training. I think he had 6 or 7 home runs this spring for Chicago. And they're very fortunate for the Cardinals and very intelligently playing deep in the outfield to keep that ball from getting to the wall.
And here comes Reed Johnson to step in on the right side with Cubs on the corners and 2 down. Franklin trying to pin down that final out. A base hit ties it. A wave and a miss. Not too sure on the swing for strike 1. No home runs for the pinch hitters. 6 runs batted in.
Cubs pinch hitters 2 for 2 tonight. Remember Miles with the base hit. They're Hoffpower.
Late on that one, and the count 0-2. So Franklin is once again at the doorstep of the save. Two on, 2 out, 2 strikes. Fouled off the catcher. Johnson with a big cut, still 0-2.
He got lucky there. Franklin got a little excited, as this crowd did. That ball was very hittable.
Well, for the first time in the series, the Cubs are on the board. Can they get another one in from third and tie it up in the ninth? The 0-2 popped up but fouled and out of play, and they will battle again.
Watching Reed Johnson be the first 2 pitches there, seeing him struggle, it really makes you appreciate the good pinch hitters over the years and how they're able to go up there and be successful. The more pitches Johnson sees, the better confidence and better chance he feels he's going to have of maybe driving in that tie-in run.
Now Molina up out of the crowd. She wants a quick word here with the closer.
This is all about respect. The respect that the staff for St. Louis has for Molina, the respect Molina has gained from the opposing teams, the job that he does back there taking charge of that rotation.
Just .231 for Johnson against Franklin, although a home run. Long conversation here.
Well, for me, it's one of those things where, you know what, if you got a 0-2 count, you need to bounce something here. Try to throw a pitch that's out of the zone where he'll expand. You got to have faith in me. And I guarantee you, I would have as much faith in Yadier Molina as any catcher in the game that he'll keep that ball in front of him.
Plenty of room back behind home plate if it gets by for that run to come in and score, but Molina is a Gold Glover. The 0-2. Fought off again by Johnson, who can be very pesky.
You know what, to me, Ryan Franklin won the argument that they had because he came right back with a fastball. And take a look at this. This ball was very hittable. That ball coming back to the heart of the plate. Johnson just again late on it.
That missed. Johnson took another close one to count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Brian Gorman again has had an outstanding night behind home plate. You wonder why he's in the postseason a lot year after year. That's a reward these days with umpire. This guy deserves to be rewarded.
The 1-2. He struck him out, and Molina held on. Back with a change of pace to fan him, and St. Louis hangs on for a 2-1 win.
Well, because he knew that Molina would hold on to that pitch. Franklin finally going with the off-speed pitch. I'm sure that's what the conversation was about. You got to have confidence in your catcher, and why not? Off-speed, that ball was down. It was not going to get by him. You see the hand raise in victory there on the part of Molina. And what a huge night, OB, for the St. Louis Cardinals. To have a healthy Chris Carpenter take the hill. This momentum could have gone either way. If he would have gotten hurt, I think their season would have been over. Their season might have just begun.
They got their #1 back tonight. He picks up the win. Carpenter now 2-0, his first victory since the early days of April. And the Cubs, they get one in the ninth, but they can't tie it up as Franklin locks it up for his 10th save of the season. Coming up next, stay tuned for Sports Center. For Rick Sutcliffe, I'm Dave O'Brien saying good night from St. Louis. Your final again, the Cardinals 2, the Cubs 1. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now it's time for Sports Center. Good night, everybody.